here on Love Campus, where we share ideas, insights, and learn how to build successful homes, successful relationships, love bound marriages and homes. Congratulations, I'm happy you're here. And on this series, The Tools of Marriage, we're already on to number 8. Please, I encourage you to sit down and pick these insights and apply them to your home. These are not just messages or videos, these are packages delivered to us in an inspired perspective. So I encourage you to sit down and take these insights and apply it to your relationships, love relationships, marriages, and homes. And I'm sure you will come back to thank me. Thank you. So today on to number 8, we'll be discussing communication. Now, communication is one to earlier on we talked about first, second, and third two up to two number um 7. Today is two number 8. So two number 8 is a very important tool because it's what is used to deliver the rest of the tools. Is what is used to package and deliver the rest of the other tools of marriage in a way that it is received, it is perceived, the impact, the intended message is received and appreciated. So that's why it is very, very important for us to actually sit down and get this insight accurately and not assumably. Now, what is communication in marriage? Now, communication in love, in relationship, and in marriage is the instrument for packaging and delivering love, values, honor, intentions, and expectation. Let me take it again. So, communication in love, in relationships, and in marriages is the instrument for packaging and delivering love, values, and honor, even intentions and expectations in the way that is well received and appreciated. So, communication is more than talking. Communication is more than conversation. Communication is more than discussion because, as a guy, when you speak to a woman, whether she loves you or not, she hears and perceives your conversation with her in 4 different layers. The first of it is your words, the vocabulary you used. The second one is what you actually said, the message. The third one is how you said it, your tone, your attitude, and your delivery. And finally, the fourth one she hears is what your heart is saying, your intentions, and the spirit behind it. So that is why when you are dealing with our wonderful sisters, you have to apply wisdom because they actually take what you're saying to different levels or layers. So sometimes the words are correct, but the heart behind them may be wrong. So, and she picks it up and interprets it and even prepares to respond to you back in a way she understands it. So, in marriage, your spouse listens both with her ear and her heart, or with his ear and his heart. So, that is why tone and intention can cancel even the most accurate speech. Tones and intentions can cancel even the most accurate speeches. So communication is actually the transfer of meaning, and the quality of the transfer determines the quality of the relationship. The transfer of meaning between spouses. You actually communicate what you have in mind and package it in a way that it is perceived, received, and interpreted or understood by your spouse. So like we said earlier, communication is the wrapper. It encloses love, respect, honor, truth, intentions, expectations, and delivers them in a way it can be received, understood, and appreciated. So, if love is not communicated or it's not communicated well, it will not be experienced well. So love has to be communicated well, it has to be packaged well and delivered in a way it is well received and appreciated. Now, there are a couple dynamics that we have to understand about communication in the Bible, especially in King James Version. Communication does not only mean speech, it includes sharing, it includes fellowship or communion, it includes the nature of words that we use when we are communicating. So, this matters because marriage communication is not only what we say, it involves what you share, it involves how you participate in activities in the house and what your words produce. So we're going to actually look at few dynamics or meanings or interpretations of communication as we have received it from by according to this tool of marriage communication. Now, the first one is communication as a medium of sharing and giving. Communication as a medium of sharing and giving. In marriage, communication is not only words, it is also the ability to share support, help, and resources with your spouse and the family. For instance, if you look at Galatians 6:6, the Bible says, let him that is taught in the word communicate unto him that teacheth in all good things. Let him that is taught in the word communicate unto him that teacheth in all good things. That means you have to share, to support, to bless, to contribute, to edify somebody. That is communicate what you have received of him to your spouse or to your anybody that is required. So as a spouse may not only need sweet words, may not only need sweet words, they also need tangible support. No matter what it is, whatever you have received, if it's financial, if it is tangible, you have to also communicate in support because love that cannot be shared becomes selfish. Love that cannot be shared becomes selfish. So the second one is communication as a tool of fellowship and participation. Communication as a tool of fellowship and participation. Communication can also mean partnership, participation, and spiritual connection. Partnership, communication, participation, and the spiritual connection. There's a saying that as the eye is the gateway to the mind, so our word, seeds, and spirit to the heart. As the eye is the gateway to the mind, so our words, seeds, and spirit to the heart. In Philemon chapter 1 and verse 6, the Bible says that the communication of thy faith may become effectual, that the communication of your love may become effectual, that the communication of your honor you have for your spouse may become effectual by acknowledging. Marriage is not sustained only by romance, it is sustained by fellowship. So the fellowship and partnership of your faith has to be communicated, of your love has to be communicated, of the honor has to be communication, because when communication dies, communion dies, friendship dies, and marriage becomes boring. Now, the third one is communication as a tool of conversation, speaking, and discussion. Sometimes communication means verbal conversation, but it must be done, it must be followed or packaged with wisdom because in James chapter 1 and verse 19, the Bible says, let every man be swift to hear but slow to speak. So many homes don't suffer because the couples don't talk. They suffer because they don't listen to understand. And I'm not an exception of this because I'm also guilty because most time when somebody is talking to me, I'm preparing my response back, and that should not. We first of all have to listen to understand, and then we prepare our response in a way that the actual intention of our heart is delivered with honor, respect. The fourth one is communication as a tool of quality speech. Communication as a tool of quality speech. Communication also refers to the nature of words. That is, whether they heal or they hurt or they harm. So, if Ephesians 4:29 says, "Let no corrupt communication proceed out of thy mouth," meaning that words can destroy, they can tear down, they can even poison the mind or the spirit. So, in Colossians 3 and verse 8, the Bible says, "Filthy communication out of your mouth." So don't let filthy communication, which is unclean, dishonoring words, out of our mouth. That's not good. That is not healthy for relationships and the marriages. In 1 Corinthians 15 verse 33, it said, "Evil communication corrupt good manners," meaning that the harmful conversation and association can damage character, can damage personality, can even tear down one's well-doing marriages and home, because wars don't disappear. Wars settle down, they are planted as seeds in our hearts, and they end up becoming memories. Okay, so yeah, so we're going to be looking at few laws of communication that are bound in marriage or that help marriages. And the first law is what we say, what is called truth must be communicated in love. Truth must be spoken in love. In marriage, wisdom is good, but discretion is better. This is not just a nice saying, it's actually a marriage survivor code. That is, wisdom is good, but discretion is even better, because wisdom is knowing what to say, what is right to say, but discretion is knowing how to say it. Is it really necessary? Must it really be said at all? That is discretion. In Ephesians 4 and verse 15, the Bible says, "But speaking the truth in love," speaking the truth in love. And the truth without love becomes violence. Love without truth becomes deception. And the marriage requires both truth spoken in love, because truth is not meant to win arguments. Truth is not meant to win argument, and truth is meant to build connection and intimacy. The second law, or law number two, is that you cannot build what you cannot discuss. You cannot build what you cannot discuss. As a couple cannot heal what they refuse to discuss. A couple cannot get over what they refuse to discuss. A couple cannot grow when they cannot talk. They cannot grow when they cannot talk. So silence does not solve any problem. So, and the silence only delays explosion. So things must be discussed. It must be understood. It must be explained in a way that is understood and uh, responded to effectively. The third law and the last one is understanding must come before expression, which is, I'm also guilty of this. Understanding must come before expression. So if you express without understanding, you misfire. If you express without understanding, you actually misfire, because you're not supposed to, you don't speak to be heard, you speak to be understood. You speak to be understood, and you don't speak, you don't listen to reply. You don't listen to reply, you listen to understand before you respond, so that your response will be in line with what the person is trying to communicate. So, in summary, communication is the total transfer is a tool of transfer of love, honor, and the truth between two hearts. So communication is a tool, a covenant tool of transfer of love, honor, and the truth between husband and the wife, or between couples. And when communication is healthy, intimacy and connections grows seamlessly. And when communication is broken, love becomes difficult and marriage is boring. And remember, this is a very important too, because you are going to be talking. Just imagine what you and your wife will be talking for a lifetime. That is why these laws, this dynamic, these insights must be applied diligently. And I'm sure as you do so, God will ensure that your marriage is blessed, honored, and favored, nothing missing, nothing broken. I'll be the first to say congratulations as you communicate effectively and effectually. Stay blessed. Thanks for listening. Please love and share this uh, with your friend and let me know what you have learned in the comment. Stay blessed.